There you go. Okay. Hi, I'm Johan Mata from J Innovations, and I'll be presenting the ankle problem. So this is all revolves around the engineering process, beginning with defining the problem, generating concepts, developing a solution, constructing and testing a prototype, and then evaluating that solution, and then eventually getting to presenting my solution, like I'm doing right now. So first, what's the problem? Well, 16% of the injuries in student athletes are ankle sprains, according to the NHRIO and the NCAA 2017 data. So in the beginning of the year, we sent out a survey, ranging from questions from have you ever suffered from an ankle sprain to what kind of sports do you play, and on the right you could see a picture, and we asked have you ever suffered an ankle injury, and with 164 respondents, 54.3 of them said that they have. Well, that's a lot of people. And there's also a link right there. You can click on it, take your own survey, and then look at the data. But I do have one question to show you. When we asked them how often do you suffer from ankle injuries, with 89 respondents, 50.6 said that they have suffered at least one ankle sprain a year. And what's shocking is that 21.3 of them said that they suffer multiple ankle sprains a year. So 97.7 at least suffer once a year. Now that's scary to see how much, or to see how many kids actually suffer from ankle sprains in high school. But first I want to show you how ankles work. So some background information. There are three main bones which are located in the ankle: the tibia, fibula, and talus, like you may know. Those are held together by ligaments, and ankle sprains are basically any injuries to those ligaments. There are basically two main ankle sprains: the lateral ankle sprain and the medial ankle sprain. The lateral ankle sprain is the most common, which is basically any strains or stretch to the ATFL or the CFL, and the medial ankle sprain is least common. But now I want to show you some ankle braces that I found on the market, just in comparison. For comparison one, here's a bit of a summary. Reviews say that the brace can help prevent ankle pain and the ankle injuries from further being exacerbated. Some pros is that it's very stable, regardless of any sport. It has adjustable straps with 3 different sizes, good material, stuff like that. Some cons is that it's too big. It won't fit your shoe, depending on what kind of shoe you're wearing, depending on what kind of sport. And of course, it's very stable, but it limits a lot of movement. So for the second comparison, here's a compression sock. It says, for a summary, ideal product to safeguard your ankles when recovering from an injury, designed to support and relieve pain from areas around the foot. Some pros, it says it provides extreme support to ankle, which is not true, and relieves pain from arthritis, joint ache, swelling, and sprains, stuff like that. Some cons is that it does not provide any stability at all. The thing with compression socks is that it's not meant to be stable. It's not going to protect your ankles from rolling side to side. The compression sock's main function is to increase circulation within the foot so that the blood circulates faster, which heals your foot quicker. But it's not meant for stability. But I want you to consider these few questions. Have you ever seen a brace that is kind of specialized for sports such as soccer, football, or any other cleat-related sports? Or how about have you ever thought of where you could buy a brace where it won't affect your shoe size because it's too bulky? What about, will a bulky ankle brace affect my shoe size or affect my performance during a game or a sport? But this question is probably the most important of them all. Have you ever heard of an exterior ankle brace? Well, we designed one. We want to prevent the bulkiness and the discomfort within the shoe. We want it to feel all natural while at the same time creating stability. So here's our first mock-up of everything. As you can see on the left, it's kind of a little sketchier design. And on the right, we created our first mock-up, our first prototype. This was made out of paper and tape. And as you can see, even from here, it's kind of really hard to explain. There's basically 3 flaps there, and each flap has its own function to keep the ankle locked in place. The other is to help keep the whole brace together, to tie it up all together. But when creating this, we eventually created this. Now, as you can see, we created ourselves. There were no manufacturer. We don't know how to manufacture things properly. We don't know how to stitch things, and then And we're not professionals on this, but we tried our best, and eventually by using it we found out that this was not a great solution, so we had to create another one. So here's our new design. For this design, we decided to create a Frankenstein of everything. So we went to the store, bought multiple different products, and we kind of chose the best or the most ideal aspect of each ankle brace that we found, and put it all together to create one final one. On the left, we chose to use the pocket with the plastic hanging out. This pocket has a kind of a dual function, what the plastic does. And so when you're playing and you feel like this ankle brace is causing too much stability, you're not able to rotate your ankle as much, then you could take out the plastic. But if you feel like you need more stability and you're afraid to roll your ankle again or sprain it, then you could slide the plastic whenever you want to. Now the middle one is the exterior part of the brace. This part it just goes straight outside, and it is really sturdy. And then the one on the right is a compression sock. Now the compression sock in the final design will be put together with the first picture on the left, and to create kind of like a compression sock inside that has the ability to become more stable or not, depending on how you want it. So eventually we came up with this final product. On the left, we have the interior part of the ankle brace, which, as you could see the kind of those pockets where you could slip the plastic in or out. And then on the right, we have the final product. But how do you put it on? Well, first you will start off by putting any normal sports sock, either football, soccer, or any other sport. Then you would put on the interior brace, which is on the left. You would put on any shoe you're gonna wear, and then eventually you're gonna put on the exterior brace at the end. So that was our final. That's basically our final product. But we had to create some tests. So we created four different tests. One of them tested the Velcro. The second tested the material. The third tested comfortability and bulkiness, and then the fourth tested the ankle rotation. So first we started with the plantar flexion rotation and the dorsiflexion rotation. We kind of had two participants partake in this, and first we measured the the rotation without the brace, and then with two different braces. So how the plantar flexion rotation works is you put your ankle and your leg on a 90-degree angle, and then rotate it downward. That's the degree that we would get. Now for when they did this without any brace, just their normal ankle, Angel Loven, as you can see, had a 45-degree rotation on it. With our brace, the one we created, it had a 21 degrees, so there's kind of like a difference there. So it kind of did restrict his ankle rotation a bit, which is good if you're going to be keeping your ankle from rotating again. And as you can see in the Starbob brace, he also had a decrease. Now for Esmeralda, the same thing happened. It was slight decrease in each of them. Now for dorsiflexion rotation, the same thing happened. They did the same rotation, but in this case, the dorsiflexion rotation is if you put your ankle and your leg on a 90-degree angle and rotate it upward, that is that rotation. So as you can see, there's a slight decrease in both of them, meaning they both served this purpose. It didn't allow the ankle to rotate as powerful, I guess. Now this will be the end of the presentation. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, you could let me know.
Okay. All right. Your presentation was good. It turned out pretty good. Your product looks awesome.